I'm the kind of person where if I hear enough good reviews about a book, I don't even really need to know what the book is about. Hello and welcome back, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my main goals for 2024. As you can tell by the title, 2024 is going to be all about series for me. So if you're interested to know what series I am talking about, then keep on watching. So if you've been on my channel for a while, then you may remember this video, and I filmed this video with the intention of reading all these series in 2023. The whole video was about all the series that I wanted to read in 2023, and I think it was probably about 10 or so series that were on that list. And I'm pretty sure that out of the ones that I talked about in that video, I managed to complete absolutely none of them. So I did read ACOTAR. I'm pretty sure that ACOTAR is on the list. That is why there is a big push. I have a personal big push on myself to make 2024 the year of the series. That is what I am calling 2024. There are so many that I want to read, and I keep putting them off for different reasons. Sometimes I put them off because there are just too many books in the series and I'm not ready to commit to that. Or sometimes I put it off because I'm just not in the mood for whatever genre it is at the time. I'm still trying to kind of find that sweet spot when it comes to reading series, because when I read Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, for example, when I read that trilogy, I read them back to back, all three, in a row, and I was a little fatigued by the time I finished reading that series. I was kind of tired of being in that world. I was tired of reading about the characters, and I feel like maybe I should have spaced it out a little bit. But then I have the Shatter Me series, for example. I read the first book in the Shatter Me series, I think the same month that I read the first book of the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. And I've only read the first book in the Shatter Me series. I own the entire collection. It's on my shelf, and I just have not touched it. So at this point, I'm going to have to go back and reread the first book because I don't remember enough to feel confident going into the rest of the series. So I'm trying to find that sweet spot of how to go about reading series and how to break them up. I have some different ideas. Do one book from each genre, if that makes sense. So I might have a thriller series or mystery series, and I might have a romance series, and I might have a fantasy series. And so I might read the first book from each one of those one month, and then read the second book of each one the next, you know what I mean? That way I'm kind of mixing up the genres, and I'm not just reading one series straight through and dulling myself into submission. So yeah, I don't really know. If you guys have any ideas, let me know that down below in the comments. That would be super helpful. So in terms of which ones I want to read, I would say if you haven't seen the video that I did last year, definitely go back and check that out. The only one that I read off of that list was ACOTAR. I did finish that, but otherwise everything else on that list is still on the list. I'm not going to go through them again because that would be a waste when there's already a whole video dedicated to those books. But in terms of new additions to my list of series, I think I probably have over 30, I would say, series that I want to read. Now, am I going to read all 30 series in the month of 2024? Most likely not. There are 10 main ones that I want to do, in addition to the ones, like I said, from the original video that I did. And then all the rest are kind of if I get to it, great. If not, that's fine. There's always 2025. So to start off, the first series that I am very excited to read is the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This series has been described to me as a YA Criminal Minds, and granted, I never watched Criminal Minds, and I know that that probably is really shocking. I've heard the premise and stuff about these teenagers who have these special abilities, and they help, I think, the FBI solve crimes and stuff like that, or cold cases or something. And then they kind of also have their own personal lives that you kind of learn a little bit about, and there's also maybe some romance subplots happening as well. I heard that it's found family, so everything that I've heard about it sounds amazing. So I definitely want to read it. I don't know when I'm going to start it necessarily. I don't know. I kind of have an idea of what my TBR for January is going to look like. I'm not really sure if the first book in the Natural series is going to fit into that TBR or not. But regardless, it's one that I'm very excited to get to at some point next year, and I will be prioritizing it. The next series is one that I've definitely talked about on my channel before, and that is the Magnolia Parks series by Jessa Hastings. And this was pitched to me, I've said this before, as like British Gossip Girl, kind of described as being like Chuck and Blair. So definitely giving like vibes like I love Gossip Girl. It's definitely one of my like favorite shows of all time, which I probably don't talk about enough because I'm always talking about like Degrassi and Vampire Diaries, but Gossip Girl is also like one of my favorite shows of all time. So yeah, a book that is very reminiscent of that is really awesome. I'm really excited to get to that. I don't really know too much about the series, and that's kind of on purpose. I don't really want to know too much about the series. I've been told that it's like a toxic relationship, and also I believe there's like a cheating trope somewhere along the way. Besides that, I don't really know much else about it, and I want to keep it that way because I'm excited. I kind of like going into books blind most of the time. The next series on the list is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is another series that I think I've talked about on my channel. I definitely am excited to read this. This is another one that I've heard really, really good things about. I know that I hauled this book earlier in the year. So at some point I read the description on my channel. I will link that video down below in the description as well, because I'm pretty sure I hauled Magnolia Parks and Ninth House at the same time, I think. As far as I know, Ninth House I think is about a girl like goes to college or something. And I don't know, I heard there's like a mystery. I heard that it's like kind of weird. I heard that there are like trigger warnings that I might need to look up, although I probably won't look them up because it's more fun for me to go in when I don't know. And I also heard that like you have to be in the right headspace to read the book, which I don't really know what that means. That kind of worries me because I'm like, what headspace do I need to be in? Like, what does that mean? Other than that, I've heard really great things about Ninth House, and I've heard even more amazing things about Hellbent. So that is another series that I'm very much looking forward to. The next series that I'm looking forward to continuing, this is one that I actually have started, and that is Iron Flame, which is part of the Fourth Wing series, which I'm sure you already knew. I don't know what the actual series is called. Whatever the word is, it's a word that starts with an E that I don't know how to pronounce. But the first book in the series is Fourth Wing, and I read that already. I read that back in the summertime, did a whole vlog on that. I'll link that down below in case you want to see that. But Iron Flame, have not read Iron Flame. I'm debating whether or not I want to do a reading vlog for Iron Flame. Because I did one for Fourth Wing, I kind of feel like I should do one for Iron Flame. But also, like, the hype maybe has passed, and I don't know if anybody even cares at this point. So if that's something that you would be interested in seeing, let me know that down below in the comments. I would definitely take that into consideration. But Iron Flame obviously is a sequel to Fourth Wing. I'm sure you already knew that. Iron Flame doesn't really need an introduction because if you've been in the book space at all this year, then I'm sure you heard lots about Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. Next up is Blood Debts by, I think it's Terry J. Benton Walker. I think that's the author's name. And I've talked about this book many times on my channel. It's one of my 5-star reads for the year. It was amazing. The second book to come out is Blood Justice. That comes out in April. The second book, I'm not sure what it's about because I haven't read the synopsis and I don't want to. But the first book is about Clement and Christina. I think that's their names. They're twin witches, and they basically have to work together to uncover some mysteries. Their mother they thought was sick, and then it turned out that their mother actually wasn't sick, she was cursed. So they were trying to figure out who cursed their mother. Their father passed away under very mysterious circumstances, and so they kind of end up bringing together their family and doing some digging into like their family's past, the history of the town, which is set in New Orleans. And they uncover a lot of things. There are a lot of secrets and things that they kind of uncover along the way. It's a really fun like urban fantasy story. Loved it, chef's kiss. So yeah, very excited to read the second book. I'm hoping that the second book will pick up kind of where the first book left off, but I don't know, we'll see. The next series that I am very excited to get to for 2024 is Little Thieves. Again, don't know what the series itself is called, but the first book in the series is Little Thieves. Don't really know too much about it. I actually heard about this from Margaret. She was the one that first introduced me to the series. She was the first person that I ever heard talk about this series, and I know she loves it. And what kind of sold me on it was that she was saying that there is asexual representation. So I'm very excited to read a like fantasy book with asexual representation. I think that will be really cool and interesting to see how that's done. I've never read the synopsis for the book. Margaret sold me when she said asexual. I was like, okay, sign me up. The books are a little chunky, so I'll definitely have to be mindful about when I choose to read them. Next up is another thicky, and that is Crescent City. Now, I don't know what the first, second, or third book is called. It's like House of Sky and Breath and House of something and something. I don't know what the titles of the books are. I know that this is another Sarah J Maas series, just like ACOTAR, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I was told that somehow, and I guess I'll figure this out once I actually read all these series, that ACOTAR, Crescent City, and Throne of Glass all somehow are connected. I don't really know how, but that's one of the reasons why I want to read Crescent City. To be honest, originally Crescent City was not a series that I had any intention on ever reading, if I'm being completely honest, especially because those books are super long. So I never actually had any intention on reading those books, but then when I was told that there is some kind of connection between that series and ACOTAR, I was like, okay, well, I guess I have to read it now. So again, just like with Little Thieves, I don't know when I'm gonna get to this series because it's so long. So I have to make sure that I'm reading it at a time where I have time to dedicate to a book that's that long. And once again, this is another series that I don't know anything about. I couldn't even begin to describe the synopsis to you because I've never read it. All I know is that this series is somehow connected to the ACOTAR series. If the lighting just changed, it's because my camera died. Next up is the Caraval series by Stephanie Garber, I think is the author. And again, I don't really know anything about this series at all. The only reason why I want to read the Caraval series is because I actually want to read the, what is it called? Broken Heart? Something about a broken heart. Once Upon a Broken Heart? Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Which I don't know what the actual series itself is called, but the first book is, I think it's called Once Upon a Broken Heart. So I wanted to read that. I've heard really good things about that series. But that series, my understanding is that it's a spin-off of the Caraval series. And I've been told that you don't have to read both. Like, you don't have to read Caraval in order to read Once Upon a Broken Heart. But I am that person where, yes, I do. I do have to read the Caraval series first before I can jump into the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. So I need to find time to read these books because I think there's 3 in the Caraval. I think that's a trilogy. And then I think we're up to the 3rd book in Once Upon a Broken Heart. So I think that's also a trilogy. I don't know if there are more books coming out or if the 3rd book is the last book. I don't know. But so far there are 6 of them. So I have a lot of catching up to do. Similarly, I want to also read the Cruel Prince series because I actually want to read the Stolen Heir series, I think is what it's called, which is a spin-off of the Cruel Prince series, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember who the author is. Is it Holly Black? I think it's Holly Black. The Cruel Prince series, just like Crescent City and just like Caraval, was a series that I had absolutely no intention on ever reading. But I've heard really great things about the Stolen Heir series. So yeah, once again, have to read one series in order to read the one that I actually want to read. And this is also, again, another series that I don't know anything about. It's just a series that I hear a lot of really good reviews about, a lot of really great things about these series. So I definitely want to read them. Before I get to the last series on this list, I do want to just kind of run down quickly like 5 or 6 other series that I'm not going to go into depth about in this video, but that are also kind of sort of on my list of series that I want to finish in 2024, but probably won't because time just will not allow for me to read that many books. So yeah, that list includes The Shadow Between Us, the Addicted series, Kingdom of the Wicked, the Red Queen series. I'm not sure what that series is called, but the first book in the series is called Red Queen. Those are the 6 series that I'm hoping to also get to in addition to the ones on this list and the ones from my video from last year. Just wanted to include those as like a maybe, just in case, possibly. Finally, the last series on this list is the Serpent in the Wings of Night series. I don't know what the actual series is called, as usual. I've heard a lot of people say that if you like ACOTAR, then you would like this series, but I've also heard that this series is nothing like ACOTAR, so I don't really know. I don't know why people are comparing it to ACOTAR, but then also saying at the same time that it's nothing like ACOTAR. So like, whatever. Still, I've heard good things about it. I know that this is one of Rainy's favorite books, so I definitely want to check it out. Again, don't know when I'll get to it, but I'm hoping to get to it, obviously, that's the whole point of this video, in 2024. My main goal is to get through at least 10. In any combination, I'd like to finish at least 10, and anything more than that 10 is like me surpassing my goal, exceeding my expectations. So we'll see which ones I actually end up finishing by the end of the year, but these books are my priority. So anything else that I read for the rest of the year, outside of like my book club books, anything else that I read for the rest of the year is really just like bonus, like extra. So if I have to choose between reading a book that's part of a series, specifically part of the series that I mentioned in this video, and reading a standalone book, more than likely the book that is part of the series is going to take priority, and that is going to kind of guide me through my reading for the year. This is such a massive goal to try to tackle because there are so many books within all the series that I've talked about in this video and last year's video that it's definitely gonna be on me to like stay focused, stay on track. But yes, that is it for me. Those are all the series that I'm hoping to complete, or at least 10 of them I'm hoping to complete by the end of 2024. Let me know down below if you have any goals that are similar to this. Do you have any series that you are hoping to complete by the end of next year? Let me know down below in the comments. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'd love to have you as part of the family, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.